Jack Benny presents the Treasury of Golden Memories of Radio. This is the second record in the box set. Side 1 is The Great Radio Comedians. It starts with Allen's Alley with Fred Allen, Senator Claghorn, Titus Moody, and Mrs. Nusbaum. Then The Easy Aces with Jane and Goodman Ace. Baron Munchausen featuring Jack Pearl. And Fibber, McGee, and Molly with Mr. and Mrs. Jim Jordan. Then it'll flip to side 2 with more of The Great Radio Comedians. Lum and Abner, Fanny Brice as Baby Snooks, Jack Benny and Mary Livingston, Mel Blanc as the Maxwell car, Bob Hope, and finally Fred Allen and Jack Benny. So let's drop the needle on Golden Memories of Radio.
One of the greatest names in radio comedy was, of course, Fred Allen. The famous Benny Allen feud went on for years, though Fred and I were close friends. Fred had a sharp wit and a sense of satire that has never been surpassed. We exchanged many visits on radio, Fred to my show and I to his. His ability to ad-lib was phenomenal. And one night, after a particularly hilarious Fred Allen ad-lib, I returned this line which has been quoted time and time again. You wouldn't have said that if my writers were here. Fred's famous Allen's Alley is as fresh today as it was then.
The senator's home. I'll knock and see what happens.
Somebody knock.
Yes, I know.
Claghorn's the name, Senator Claghorn.
I know you're from the South.
When I'm in New York, I'll never go to the Yankee Stadium.
Now, wait a minute.
I won't even go to see the Giants unless the Southpaw's pitching.
Well, look.
I refuse to watch the Dodgers unless Dixie Walker's playing.
Now, wait a minute.
Stop interrupting. Where's your manners?
Manners, I have more
Try listening. You might learn something.
Listen, all I'll ever learn.
Your tongue's wagging like a blind dog's tail in a meat market.
You're winded, hey?
Just sucking in some air, son.
Well, leave a little. I'm breathing, too, you know. Tell me, Senator, what is Washington doing about cold prevention?
The Senate reconvened just in time.
Yeah?
I was glad to see Senator Aiken back. Aiken back, that's a joke, son.
I know it's a joke.
That was a scrawny side split.
I wouldn't.
That was a three-sport streaker.
Listen, you don't know what it is.
I keep tossing them and you just sidestep them.
Well, look. Now, wait.
Say, you're a regular sad sack. Sack, that is.
Now, you wait. Tell me, cool off. Now, just a second. Do you have a favorite cure for a cold?
I caught a cold last week.
Yeah?
Like to ruin my filibuster.
Ruin your filibuster? What did you do?
I took an old Southern remedy, son. I drank down 2 buckets of hot mint julep.
You drank 2 buckets of hot mint juleps and you still held the floor?
Held the floor, son, I couldn't get up off it.
Well, I wonder how Titus Moody is doing this evening.
Howdy, Bob.
Say, Mr. Moody, you look a little tired.
I know. I was up all night. Couldn't get a wink.
You didn't sleep a wink?
No, 'twa'n't that. Somebody stole my tiddly.
Well, Mr. Moody, tell me, has this cold epidemic hit your farm?
My wife had a nasty cold.
Did you call the doctor?
Yeah, go down quack, give her sulfur and molasses. Put in too much sulfur.
Well, how can you tell he gave her too much sulfur?
When my wife sits in the dark, she glows.
Well, are you doing anything about it?
Why, Senator Claghorn, a foreigner next door, he sent me over a bucket of hot mint julep.
For your wife?
No, for me. Tonight I'm getting lit up to keep her company. Come on, Doc.
Looks as though Titus is going to get lit up on his weekend. Well, let's see what a knock here will start.
No.
Ah, Mrs. Nusbaum.
You're expecting maybe 2 la banquet?
Tell me, Mrs. N, have you had any colds in your house?
Mine husband Pierre is sick.
Oh, really?
They are maybe sending him to a clinic. The Meyer brothers.
Oh, the Meyer brothers. But didn't Pierre try any cold remedies?
Every day is a new remedy. First he is bringing home fruit to drinking fruit juices.
What kind?
Oranges, grapefruits, tambourine.
Well, how long did he drink the fruit juices?
One day. Then Pierre is opening up the window and throwing out the fruit.
Oh, he had another remedy?
Vitamins from vegetables.
Oh, good.
He's bringing home carrots, Springler beans, and rutabagas.
How long did he try vitamins?
One day.
One day again.
Pierre is opening up the window and throwing out the vegetables.
He had yet another remedy?
Absolute rest. You're staying in bed.
Uh-huh.
I am bringing meals. I'm bringing pills. I'm bringing hot water bottles.
Well, how long did this last?
One day.
And then?
I am opening up the window and throwing out Pierre.
Who was it that said, well, you've got to take the bitter with the batter? Sure, you remember.
And the first day I met Jane, she was Jane Sherwood then. The first day I met her, she showed me newspaper clippings of all the plays she had been in at school. She read me how the school paper critic had praised her performance in Hamlet.
Jane Sherwood as the ghost was ghastly.
She read me a rave notice on her performance in Macbeth.
3 girls played the witches, and they were quite gruesome.
And there were many other similar triumphs through her 4 years in high school.
And there were many other similar triumphs through my 5 years in high school.
But she gave it all up to marry me and become just a plain little old housewife. But do you think she regrets it? Yes, she does now and then. Even after 15 years of marriage, she started regretting it again the other evening after dinner.
Dear, do you think I know Anthony Marshall well enough to go next door and ask him to give me a part in his play he just finished writing and he's starting rehearsal tomorrow, it says here in the paper?
No.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say no. You're always throwing damp water on everything I want to do in the theater.
Look, Damp, this is a professional play Mr. Marshall's putting on. You're only an amateur.
Well, I'll turn pro. I don't mind getting paid for it.
You don't.
We can certainly use the money.
Oh, now, just a minute. We live very comfortably in our modest way.
Well, it's time we started living immodestly.
Hey, please. Is that why you want to become an actress?
Oh, when I read about these plays going into rehearsal, it does something to me. I get the smell of the old goose grease. I want to get behind the footnotes. I want to see my name up in tights.
Look, Runway.
Oh, what? Did I ever tell you the story about...
Oh, no, you're not going to tell me that Mona Frisbee story again.
Mona Frisbee and I both won a school contest to go to Hollywood.
I know.
I married you.
I know you did.
But she went to Hollywood, and after 2 years of hanging around the studios, she married a cameraman and then got divorced, and now is a waitress in a drive-in restaurant near San Francisco, and she's doing very well with tips.
I know that story, Jane. So what?
So what? So why couldn't I?
So bring me a hamburger, plenty of relish, and no mustard.
No, I mean, so a neighbor of ours writes a play, and you say don't ask him for a part in it?
Well...
Do you know that every actress in town will give her right name to be in his play?
Jane, you're not an actress.
Smile when you say that, dear.
Jane, you're not an actress.
You, of all people, to say a thing like that to me, of all people. To think that I would rue the day to hear you say it. To me, dear. Me, the one who's desecrated her life to you.
Oh, fine.
All my life, I've worked my head to the bone to do things to please you.
Oh, now, Jane, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
I always take up for you. If somebody says you're sarcastic, I say he is not.
Oh, now, wait a minute. I'm sorry I even
Why even tell people you're handsome?
Oh, isn't this?
Well, what do you say to me? No, you can't do this. You can't do that. Stay home, you say. You're giving me an inferior complex.
Oh, please, Jane, will you stop crying?
I can't stand it anymore. I'm through. I'm through. Do you hear me? I'm through.
Oh, Jane, don't carry on like that.
No.
Now, look, if you really want to try out for it, go and see him about the play. Is that all right now, Jane? Will you stop crying?
So I'm not an actress, huh?
What?
Not much I can't.
What?
Well, see you later, dear. I'm going over to see Tony about his
Isn't
play.
that all?
Yes, Jane and Goodman Ace. Goodman selected that excerpt for us as one he particularly treasures. Radio contributed many words and phrases to our vocabulary. When you said a person was a real Baron Munchausen, you had Jack Pearl and his famous character in mind.
Well, Baron, I'm delighted to see you.
Well, Charlie, of all the peoples in the whole world.
I haven't seen you in a long time. Where you been?
I just come back from the other side.
Oh, you did,
Yeah,
huh?
I just come back.
How'd you get over here?
I came over on a ship.
How was the food aboard the ship, Baron?
Food was just so-so.
Oh, just so-so.
You know something, Charlie? With every meal I had to eat soup.
With every meal you had to eat?
I had to eat soup.
Was it compulsory?
You see, I was... Hello?
I say, was it compulsory?
No. Tomatoes.
Oh, tomatoes.
No, they didn't have compulsory.
Oh, say, by the way, Baron, just a moment. Did you know that Jimmy Durante has been looking all over this theater for you with a gun?
What do you mean? He's looking for me with a revolver?
With what?
I say he's looking for me with a revolver?
With a revolver, yes.
Why he's looking for me? Why?
Well, he said that you called him a dirty name.
I called him a dirty name?
He said that you swore at him.
Oh, what a liar!
Wait. Now, don't get excited. You'll get high blood pressure.
No, not me. I'm anemic.
Oh,
no.
sure.
No, listen, Charlie, I give you my solemn word. I never called him a dirty name, and I never swore at
Well,
him.
then how did it happen?
Here's how that comes out, just like it was.
All right.
What day is this today?
Today?
Yeah.
Today is Sunday.
Sunday. That was 4 days back. That was Wednesdays. You see, I'm going out with my...
Wait a minute. What day did you say?
Wednesdays.
No.
I was going...
You mean Wednesday?
Yeah, in the center of the week, like, you know.
Wednesday, named after the god Woden.
No. Wednesdays is named after Tuesday.
Oh,
Charlie, you see, Wednesdays I was going in the country with my car.
I see.
Well, as I'm driving...
Wait a minute. Tell me, what time of the day was this?
Oh, this was maybe 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock a.m. or p.m.?
So I'm going... What was that? What?
I say, was it 9 o'clock a.m. or p.m.?
So I'm going out with my...
Why don't you answer my question? Was it 9 o'clock a.m. or p.m.?
No. That's not nice.
What's not nice?
Now, I don't like that. Now, you hear that? Now,
what are you talking about?
Now, I know what that is. Now, don't say that.
You do.
I'm going out with...
All right. Wait a minute.
Now, I don't like...
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
About the farmer's daughter. No. I don't like...
Jack Pearl contributed Vajudere Charlie to our language. Jimmy Durante added, I got 1 million of them. While Joe Penner offered, you nasty man, don't ever do that. And want to buy a duck? I guess we all used Molly's famous, "Tain't funny, McGee."
What are you reading, dearie?
Wimple's bird book. He left it here last night, and you never read such a miss of mass information in your life. It's awful.
Well, if it's that bad, why do you read it?
It's so garbled, it fascinates me. This book has got more wrong answers than a nervous housewife on Take It or Leave It. Look at the title, even. American Birds and Their Habits. They can't even spell habits, you see?
Where?
There.
Oh, that word isn't habits, dearie. It's habitats.
Oh. Well, what I want to know is what their habits are. Who cares where they have their habits at? Any bird lover who reads this would throw eggs at the publisher.
Say, when did you become such a bird lover?
Ever since the first time I had quail with wild rice.
What particular statement in that book are you quarreling with?
Well, listen to what it says about the feeding habitats of the pelican.
All right.
It says the pelican feeds occasionally on other things besides fish, but it definitely prefers marine life. Now, that is ridiculous.
Why is it?
There ain't a pelican living that could get in the Marines. Why? They even turned me down twice.
Dearie, that isn't what that means.
Huh?
Besides, I think you're being too critical. After all, you're not much of an expert on bird life.
Who ain't?
You ain't.
Huh?
I mean, you aren't.
Oh, the heck I aren't. Who was it worked his way through high school raising baby chicks and even invented a slot machine that would dispense them 2 for a quarter? And who was it that a chewing gum took his idea and beat him to the patent office?
What chewing gum?
Chiclets. That's why I say these people that write these...
Come in.
Oh, it's Wallace Wimple. Hi, Wimp.
Hello, Mr. Wimple.
Hello, folks.
We were just reading your bird book, Mr. Wimple. Hope you don't mind.
Oh, not at all, Mrs. McGee. I'm glad to know where I left it. I'm afraid I was rather upset when I left here last night.
Yeah, we noticed that, Wimp.
Why? Did I do something?
Well, we had the radio turned on to a political rally.
Oh, I remember now. A deep voice snarled, Wallace is going to get the beating of his life. And I went right out the window. Silly me.
Hey, how are you getting along these days with her, Wimp?
You mean Sweetie Face? My big old wife?
Yes.
Oh, about as usual. We had a little tiff yesterday, and believe me, Sweetie Face puts up a tough tiff.
What was it about, Wimp?
Oh, it was nothing, really.
No?
She came back from downtown with a new hairdo and asked me how I liked it.
Ben?
And I told her. Frankly, Sweetie Face, I said, it looks like an explosion in an Excelsior factory. I said, or a crew haircut with mutiny on the poop deck. I don't blame them for dyeing your hair, I said, but they waited too long to embalm it.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. And then out loud, I said, it looks simply beautiful, dear.
My gosh, how could she object to that?
Oh, she knows me so well. She ignored the compliments on my lips and tried to slap the expression off my face. When I ducked, she... Oh, speaking of ducks, did you enjoy reading my bird book?
Yeah.
No.
What?
Confidentially, Wimp, this book is fuller of tripe than the inside of a cow.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Mr. McGee. This is the finest bird book there is. This is the authority on birds. It tells about the dodo bird disappearing, the migratory habits of the snow goose, how the passenger pigeon became extinct.
Wait a minute. What was that again?
You mean about the passenger pigeon?
Yeah, that.
Well, it says on page 49, and I quote, The passenger pigeon, which once swarmed over the North American continent by the millions, has the last known passenger pigeon died in the Cincinnati Zoo in 1914.
Exactly. That's just what I mean. That is a falsehood.
What do you mean, McGee?
I mean, I saw a passenger pigeon today. I've seen one every day for weeks.
Oh, my goodness, Mr. McGee, if what you say is true...
And it is.
If you actually saw a real live passenger pigeon, why, any zoo in the country would pay thousands for one.
You mean thousands of money?
Thousands of dollars for one pigeon, Mr. Wimple? Are you sure it was a passenger pigeon, McGee?
Why, sure, I'm sure it was a passenger pigeon. Hey, if they're worth that kind of dough, I could trap that thing and sell it for... Oh, my gosh, where's my hammer? Where's my tools? I gotta make a trap. Where's my screwdriver?
I don't know, Mr. McGee. I'm just a guest here.
Oh, I know. I left it right here in the hall closet.
No, don't open that door, McGee.
Abner, will you come over here and help me put this sign on the door?
Why, sure, Lum.
Just hold this nail in place while I whack it with a hammer.
For quiet, homespun humor with a country flavor, I think you have to turn to Lum and Abner as the foremost example. In fact, I can't think of anything on television today that has captured this particular kind of format. The comedy was comfortable and funny.
Lum, suppose you hold a nail in place while I whack it with a hammer.
You think I'm crazy?
Trouble here is we're suffering from an oversupply of whackers.
Have you ever seen me hit anybody on the thumb with a hammer?
Yes. Last summer when Opie Cates helped you put up the screens.
Oh, that was just a little tap.
Tap? You smacked that thumb so flat it looked like he's carrying around a pancake flipper.
Why, he didn't even holler.
He let out such a beller all the fellers at the sawmill knocked off for lunch.
You stop exaggerating and hold that nail. Granny.
Lum, you couldn't hit that nail no matter if your whole life depended on it.
Oh, now be quiet.
Huh?
Just
This is my page-flipping finger here, Lum. Be
Just
careful.
hold the nail in place. Okay, here goes. There. Now, how was that?
Not bad. Just aim it 2 more feet to the left, and I think you'll have it.
The trouble is the top of the nail is too small.
You couldn't drive that nail if I stuck it in between my teeth and let you hit me on the back of the head.
Don't give me any ideas. Now, just hold it in place. This time I'll keep my eyes open.
Good. Think one of us ought to know what's going on.
You ready now?
Yeah.
Here goes.
Oh, you idiot. Why don't you watch what you're doing?
Abner Peabody, I didn't even touch that hand.
I know you didn't. You got the one I had in my pocket.
One of the most nostalgic names in the American theater came to radio and leaped to success with the devilish character she created. Her career has been portrayed on Broadway in the smash musical Funny Girl. Who else but Fanny Brice as Baby Snooks?
I was just trying to help you, Dad.
Why must you torment me this way? Why can't you just leave me alone when I feel like playing the piano?
'Cause I want to play, too.
You don't know how to play.
I can learn.
Oh. Do you really mean that, Snooks?
Yes, Dad.
Because nothing would please me more. And if I teach you to play, will you practice faithfully every day?
Mm-hmm.
All right, darling. Sit here beside me. Who knows? You may turn out to be a child prodigy.
Who knows?
Now, before I give you the first lesson, suppose we try to find out just how much natural ability you have.
How?
Well, see if you can pick out a tune. Whatever music comes into your head.
All right. Bye, baby.
All right, all right.
Stop.
We can forget the prodigy business right now.
Shall I play some more, Daddy?
No. Pay a little attention, Snooks. There are 7 major musical notes in the scale.
Where's the scale?
Right here. Now listen. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. See this note? That's A.
A what?
A nothing. A is just its name. Now what comes after A?
B.
And what comes after E?
F.
Good. What comes after G?
Whiz.
Snooks.
I was only fooling, Daddy.
All right. What comes after G?
H.
No. After G, you start all over again with A. Now. A. What note is this?
H.
No! Didn't you hear me singing it? It's A.
Well, it sounded like A.
When the Longines Symphonette Society first suggested that we create this treasury of golden moments from radio, Mary Livingstone and I spent many evenings reliving some of our own radio broadcasts. We came across this one I thought you might like.
All right, Mary, read me your mother's letter.
Okay. My darling daughter Mary, just a note to let you know that we are all well. Although I must say that this being election year, your father and I have been having our usual political arguments. As you know, I'm a Republican and he's a Democrat. I wear a button that says I like Ike, and your father's been wearing a coonskin cap. He thought it was a coonskin till this morning when it had kittens.
No kidding.
Well, Mary, at last I have some good news for you. We're finally getting rid of your Aunt Emily.
Well, it's about time. She's been living with your family as long as I can remember.
For the past 2 years, your Aunt Emily's been going with the local undertaker. And next Sunday, they're getting married. I'm glad when they get a home of their own. I'm tired of them coming in here every night with those second-hand flowers.
God.
Right now, she's wearing a ribbon in her hair that says, "Rest in peace."
Your mother.
But even though he's an undertaker, he's very progressive, and he's the only one in town with a convertible hearse.
A convertible hearse? No.
No other news.
Hey, your mother's a humdinger today.
No other news, so we'll close with love, Mama. P.S. Just as I was getting ready to seal this envelope, the postman came with your check for Mother's Day. Mary, this was very thoughtful of you. But how you could send me that much money on the salary Jack pays you, I'll never know.
Mary, how much did you send her?
$4.
Can you remember the day you bought your first automobile? I can remember driving mine home, for I had my friend Mel Blanc with me. Mel and I still work together, and I still have the Maxwell. Isn't that amazing? Mel Blanc, the man of 1,000 voice characterizations. And speaking of characters, there's still another graduate of radio around today. And I do mean around every Army, Navy, and Air Force base in the world. The old ski-nose himself, Bob Hope.
Thank you, fellas. No whistling. We'll have the place loaded with dogs. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, here we are at the Pasadena Army Service Forces Regional Hospital. That's an ambulatory phrase meaning don't step out the back door, Joe. It's a 100-foot drop to the sewer. Yes, sir, I've done a couple of shows in hospitals recently. I feel so much safer when there's a doctor close by. And this is a wonderful spot for a hospital. When a battle fatigue case comes in, and they can't calm him down and make him sleepy the usual way, they just give him a pass to go into Pasadena. Pasadena, that's the town where the curfew goes on at 12 noon. But I want to tell you, it's a great place to live. Pasadena is a very quiet town. In fact, every time a soldier takes a walk, the Chamber of Commerce appoints a man to follow behind him and oil his GI shoes. Somebody ought to oil my tongue for a while here, too. And Pasadena is really a ritzy town. They're so fussy here, the mayor meets the Greyhound buses at the city limits with a can of flea powder. So ritzy, I put a nickel in the Pasadena jukebox to play one meatball, and it came out one caviar croquette. I saw one beautiful rich debutante here this afternoon, though. Boy, she was really loaded. She had money, too. But these soldiers aren't impressed with the local register here in Pasadena. When they go out with a girl, they don't care about who's who. They want to know it's what. This hospital used to be a hotel called the Vista del Arroyo. That's a Spanish term meaning, why, Sergeant, the young lady was just admiring my cast, and we got so engrossed we must have strolled into Hollywood without knowing it.
Back around 1948, television was beginning to gain in stature. The stars were still the property of radio, but it was obvious a change was in the wind. Fred Allen was already making plans, and he revealed those plans on his show one evening when a gatecrasher joined him for a sequence that requires all of your imagination.
Benny was born ignorant, and he's been losing ground ever since. Benny was doing a monologue with a pig on the stage. The pig was there to eat up the stuff the audience threw at Benny. Why, some weeks he used 2 pigs. Benny is the only guy in New York who has to bounce his nickels for the manager before they'll let him in the automat. Who would be low enough to sneak into a tour to save 60 cents?
There's the guy. Hey, you!
Who, me?
Jack, how can you be so cheap?
All right, go ahead. Be like the other radio comedians. Tell some cheap joke. I won't even eat in the sun. My shadow might ask me for a bite.
Your shadow has teeth? Jack, now look. Jack, don't get excited. Look, if you're cheap, you're cheap.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, Jack, if there ever was a time that you and I should not argue, this is the time.
What do you mean this is the time?
Well, haven't you heard? A lot of the radio programs that have been on for many years have been canceled. By the way, you finished tonight, didn't you?
Yes, sirree. Tonight was my last show of the season.
Did your sponsor mention anything about your program coming back in October?
Well, no, Fred, but we have a mutual understanding. You see, we always sort of take it for granted.
Oh.
The season ends, the sponsor shakes hands with me, and then we... Yipe!
Jack, what's wrong?
Tonight he didn't shake hands.
Cheer up, Jack. When you're retired, you can tune in on my new show.
New show?
People don't want entertainment today. A radio show has to give away things. Nylons, ice boxes, automobiles.
You mean to stay on the air, you have to give things away?
Yes.
I'll die first.
Well, not me. I'm auditioning my new program tonight.
And Fred, you're giving things away?
Tons of stuff.
Well, Fred, as long as I'm here in the studio...
Well, no, I'm sorry, Jack. Professional people cannot participate. It's a rule.
But don't you ever find people on these programs changing their names to get something for nothing?
Well, occasionally we do catch a phony, but we're on the air. What can we do?
Now, Mr. Allen, we're ready for your audition.
I'll run along, Fred. So long.
So long, Jack.
Giving away things for nothing.
Well, all right, let's try out my new show.
Here he is, the man who will change one of you nobodies into king for a day, the old kingmaker himself, Red Allen.
Thank you. Thank you. And here is our first eager contestant. Your name, sir?
Myron Proudfoot.
Myron Proudfoot? You look like a chap I know.
I'm not interested in your friends. Start giving things away, brother.
What is your occupation, Mr. Proudfoot?
I'm a chaplain in a bakery.
What does a chaplain do in a bakery?
I put wings on angel cake.
How long have you been in the cake business, Mr. Proudfoot?
Long enough to know a crumb when I see one.
Now, don't get sarcastic, Mr. Proudleg.
The name is Proudfoot, and make with the question.
All right. Who was the 6th President of the United States?
John Quincy Adams.
John Quincy Adams is correct, and Mr. Myron Proudfoot is king for a day. Well, Your Majesty, how do you feel?
Never mind how I feel. What do I get?
Immediately after this program, Your Majesty will be guest of honor at a banquet at Hamburger Heaven. Tomorrow morning, through the courtesy of the Sanitation Department, you will be guest conductor on the 11.5 garbage run through the Bronx. At night, in your ermine robe, you will be whisked by bicycle to Orange, New Jersey, where you will be the judge in a chicken cleaning contest.
I'm king for a day!
And that's not all.
There's more?
Yes, we are going to start right now to make you look like a king. Your suit is a little baggy, King. Boys, take His Majesty's coat off.
Wait.
On our stage, we have a Hoffman pressing machine.
Now, wait a minute.
An expert operating the Hoffman pressing machine will press your trousers.
Now, wait a minute.
Alan. Keep your shirt on, King.
You bet I'll keep my shirt on.
We're a little late, folks. Tune in again.
Come on, Alan, give me my pants.
Quiet, King.
Alan, this is a place. Where are my pants?
Benny, for 15 years I've been waiting to catch you like
Alan,
this.
you haven't seen the end of me.
It won't be long now.